Hello and welcome everybody. This is going to be our tutorial on creating a blog, and within this first part we're going to cover user registration and also user login. Now before we start, we need to set up our database and a table to store information about the user after registration. And this table is also going to be used to grant access to verified members. So we begin by opening up PHP which I showed you how to do, and it comes with the software WAMP. And the way we do it is this should show up when you first open up PHP Then you go to databases, and you could create a new database here. I already created my own, but you could type in whatever name, press create, and it's going to bring you to a page similar like this. We're not going to create the table like this because it's pretty much straightforward if you want to create a table like this. We're just going to use a very quick SQL query right here to do it. I'm going to paste a little code in here so we could save some time. This is going to be available for download as well, so don't worry about it. We paste this in here. All it's going to do is create a couple columns here for us, and it's going to create the user table actually, which you'll see in a second. Alright, it's done. What do we have in here? We have user ID, username, password, email, date registered, user level, all basically basic stuff. Date registered, the reason why I chose it to be an int is because I'm going to put in seconds in there, meaning the exact second you registered. This is important because PHP gives us functions that could manipulate that, so we can display it in any way we want, rather than actually storing a varchar string and only having that exact format that you entered in. So you'll see this later on being very useful. Also, user level is important because we want to differentiate between regular registered users and administrators, especially when it comes to creating a post, editing a post, and making a comment, because registered users should be able to make comments but not edit or create posts. So again, we'll see more of this later on. So now that we have our database set up, let's get down to the actual coding. Now create a new PHP page, and after you created the new PHP page, we're just going to get started with this. We're going to open up the body tags, and we're going to create a basic form for our registration. So this is all this is all HTML, so it shouldn't be anything new. We're actually gonna, let me just close this form tag. Whatever this is gonna be named, we're gonna name it register.php. This is actually gonna be the page we're coding on now. And why am I setting, because this is gonna be the form's action. This is where the form is going to be submitted to, and why am I sending it to the same page as the page the form is being displayed on? You'll see, but I do this because it's easier. It keeps things more organized rather than having two different files. You could also send it to a different page if you want it, but you'll see as I code along that it makes sense to do the way I do it. We're also going to declare what method it's going to be using, which is post. It's going to post the information, and then we start defining the things we need in here. So username, username, I'm going to need to drop down a line. Input type is going to be text. Again, this shouldn't be anything new, simple HTML stuff. Username, and this is important. You need to give it some kind of name, because this is where you're going to be accessing it when you got to be using the post variable. Very important. Now for the password field, we're going to be using something pretty interesting, which not a lot of people know about apparently, but it's very important to use this for security reasons, and there's going to be more security about this blog later on. Right now we're just gonna keep it pretty basic, but you could add your own security as you wish. The purpose of this tutorial is to just kind of give you an idea on how PHP and HTML kind of work, and just give you a basic knowledge to make basic websites for yourself, for maybe your school project, or for your company even. Now, alright, so here what I'm doing is putting input type as password. So when you type in something, well, you'll see this in a little bit. When you type in something, it's actually going to, star out the stuff rather than, show the characters you type. And we're also going to name this password, and we're going to close the tags. We're going to put the next stuff on a new line. We're also going to introduce repeat password, which is very, very important. And again, input type, and this is going to be another password field, and name, repeat, password. You want to make sure that the user actually is entering the password that's correct, and it's the one he wants before you actually commit something to the database, because the last thing you want is the user not to be able to log in, because again, users can be pretty stupid sometimes, and you want a foolproof against them. We're going to put an email here, pretty simple stuff again. Type text as you would have guessed. Name is also going to be email. We're going to close it. And the last part of this is going to be actually putting a submit button here. And the way we do it is by going submit, and we're going to name it, believe it or not, submit. And we're also going to give it a value, meaning what is the button going to display, and you're going to say register. And we're going to have to save it somewhere, which we're going to go to our root folder, and we're actually going to create a new folder called blog, and in here we're going to name it register.php. And before we even, I'm going to put another folder in here just to kind of keep everything organized, and it's going to be called user, because I kind of tend to keep everything separate from user to the blog section of the website. You'll see later on how this will look better. Now, to show you how this would look like, we would go to localhost, and then we would go all the way up to our blog, into a user folder, and register.php. See, this is how it looks like. Now, we're not processing anything yet, but we have a pretty basic form right now. So let's actually start processing this form. The PHP is actually going to go on top of our form, and we're going to open up some PHP tags here, and it's going to begin by actually making a connection to our database, because we're going to be putting stuff in our database very shortly. So we do that by MySQL connect, and at first it's going to take your host. For me, it's my local host. Then it's going to take your username. For me, it's root. Then password. My password is simply nothing, or die, and this is basically error reporting. If something isn't working, it's gonna stop the page from loading further, and it's gonna throw out an error on why something's not working, which is very, very important. We also have to select our database, because connecting to the database itself, connecting to our host is one thing, but then we also have to select our database, because as you could see, let's go back here, we have plenty of